Hi guys, welcome. I'm Cambro. Today we'll be talking more about Arkham Horror, the card game. So we got some exciting news from Fantasy Fly 3 days ago, 4 days ago, about a new upcoming book. And I want to talk about this immediately, but I've been sick, so I haven't really been able to record anything. So we got a new novel called The Era of the Void. This is our second novel. We got another novel like 1 month ago featuring Jenny. Um, and in that novel, we got like an alternate art of Jenny Barnes with also a new signature card and a new signature weakness. But I mean, even though the art was totally different, it was still the same character, the same stats, the same ability. Um, but yeah, now we got a whole new investigator in this novel, and that investigator is Norma uh, Winters, the astronomer. So this is not completely new. We have gotten an investigator which hasn't been released yet, in the form of Marie. She was released in the I don't even know the name of that one. The book about Arkham Horror, about all the investigators. Is it released with? Yeah, I don't even know what that book is called. Don't they have novels here? No. Yeah, The Investigators of Arkham Horror. Yeah, this book. If you bought this book, I don't know when it came somewhere at the beginning of this year, you got Marie. And she hasn't been released yet either. A lot of people thought you were going to come in Carcosa, but you didn't. But enough about that. Let's talk. So today will be a shorter video. I'll just talk some briefly about my thoughts about Norman. What I think will making good, and stuff like that. So let's check out him, Norman, the astronomer. He has 4 willpower, 5 intellect, so same as Daisy, 2 combat, and 1 agility. The Miskatonic trait: play with the top card of your deck revealed. So you constantly have your top card revealed. So after you draw it, you always know what you will draw, and when you draw a card, you reveal the new one. So once per round, you may play the top card of your deck as it were in your hand at -1 resource cost. So you can play the top card for 1 fewer resource, and then there's a forced. After weakness is revealed while on top of your deck, draw it. And then the Elder Sign is +X. You may swap the top card of your deck with a card in your hand. X is the resource cost of the top card in your deck, or of your deck. And he has 6 health and 8 sanity. Yeah, so there's a lot of take in. So let's start with the stat line. So 5 in intellect, it's the same as Daisy. He has 1 more will than Daisy. Same combat and 1 fewer agility, right? Yeah. So I think Daisy is the most comparable since they both have high will and high intellect. He has lower agility, but I don't really think that matters too much. Combat and agility is not something you use with Daisy, and probably is not something you're gonna use with Norman either. 5 intellect has been shown to be really good. We're recording, right? Yeah. And that extra intellect, it's really well. Majority of the encounter cards are about will, so we don't know his secondary class yet. We'll talk about that too, but we don't know his secondary class if he can use will to like Daisy. She has Mystic as her secondary class, which really benefits having high will. But we don't know if Norma is going to be secondary Mystic or whatever. But a lot of encounter cards feature willpower tests, so it's always good to have high willpower. Combat and agility, I don't think it mattered that much. Sure, you have hyper awareness in class, which boosts agility, but I mean this talents core cards aren't that good nowadays when we have the permanents. And higher educations, let's assume Norman can take it, because yeah, it's a level 3 seeker. All the seekers have been able to take up to level 5. And that boosts will and intellect. So it's definitely going to be his two main stats. So let's talk about his abilities. So you always know what you'll draw, which is definitely useful. I mean, that's information, and information is power in this game. Let's see, it might be a bit dark due to the... well, you just have to live with it. That'll get even darker. So that's definitely powerful, I think. And you're able to play it for cheaper, which is always good, saving money. And with Milan, you're probably gonna have some money, so not too bad of it. But on a thing I want to mention, I think this is how it's definitely how it works. So if you play a fast card from top of your deck, you're going to reveal a new card. So then you're basically saving 1 to 2 actions. Well, it's a fast card, but you don't have to draw the card, which is really good. Yeah, so there's actually a lot of fast cards in Seeker. We have Cryptic Research, where you draw 3 cards. I assume you draw them all at the same time. So it's a fast card, you draw 3 cards. And I assume you draw them at the same time as, so you're not get to look at each card before you draw it, because that would trigger his force, which would force you to draw the weakness. That would save you a card, so that technically you would draw 4 cards if one of them were a weakness. But I don't think that's how it works, I'm pretty sure. Exposed weakness you don't want to play. Forewarned, yeah, I mean it's very, yeah, I mean it's good. Works for 1 turn, and you're going to draw it. The magnifying glass are probably something you really want to see on top of your deck. So you'll draw a new card, a fresher card. Shortcuts, super useful. Yeah, there are a lot of fast cards, and I mean, you're saving an action not to have to draw that. Obviously, you always draw at the end of your turn, but this way you're going to draw a fresh card instead. So that's neat. You'll always draw your weakness. You'll be forced to draw it, but that's probably good though. A lot of an annoying thing with this game, which you probably have already noticed, is in the upkeep you draw a card and get a resource. It's so annoying when you draw your weakness, because then you're like, it feels like you're getting tricked of a card. Like you deserve another card, a new card to play with, but you only got your weakness. So he will always get to draw a card in the upkeep, a player card, and never a weakness due to this. Because imagine if you, for example, if you draw as your last action, you draw a card, and then the next card after that is your is a weakness, then you're going to draw that immediately, and then you're going to get the new card in the upkeep phase. Or if you draw a normal card, a player card in the upkeep, and the next card is a weakness, then you're going to draw that too. So you're going to draw 2 cards in the upkeep phase. So I think that's good. Before we talk about his weakness and special card, let's talk about some... oh, we haven't mentioned his Elder Sign either. So it's a plus X, where X is the top card of your deck's cost. And you get to switch a card. So if you're having a skill card, then you probably want to switch it, because skill card has a research cost of 0. So you could switch it to some... I don't know. Let's look at some Daisy deck I took here at the cost. I mean, the cost range for like 1 to 4. So you're probably going to average around 2. And plus 2 Elder Sign, it's okay. It's not too fun. a bad thing though is that when you do this, you have to put the card back, that so you can't play it until you draw it again, and that might be slow you down a bit. So the thing is, you don't have to switch card because you know how much you need to succeed. So maybe sometimes you don't even need to switch card. It's also good to, if you're going to succeed no matter what's on the card, you might want the card on the top of your deck more than the card in your hand. So you could like switch those cards just to get that card in your hand up fast. Yeah, so that's a lot of cool tricks. 5 HP and 8 sanity. It's probably better than Daisy's stats. Because, I mean, it's easier to heal. Can't we get to Daisy from here? It's easier to heal horror, I think, than damage. I mean, sure, you have medical text, infection, which heals damage, but not many players except Daisy want to use this because it's kind of a slow take an action to heal, and Daisy has that free tome action. Yeah. And I believe horror is easier to heal. Liquid Courage is so efficient, and there's other horror healing cards. So in terms of like just fast cards, if we look at all the fast cards in the game, there's a lot of them, and I think Rogue has the most fast cards. I don't know how many of them would be good to him. If we assume he's like the basic, you can take a secondary class up to level 2 cards. Then there's not many good fast cards, at least. I mean, it feels like he should have Seeker. No, Mystic as in secondary. But I mean, we have both had a Seeker and a Mystic secondary class. So he might. I don't think he can be Guardian with 2 in combat, and I don't think he'll be Rogue with 1 agility. Maybe. Or it'll be some completely new. Maybe like Mark, that he can only take in class, and then like, I don't know, fast cards of other faction, level 0 fast or some other trait. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when we get to know. So let's talk about the signature card. So this is, oh, maybe it's been too small all alone. Have you been able to see? Ah, shit. Well, if you couldn't see, this is more zoomed in. I think that's big enough, right? So this is split the angle, Eater of the Void. So it's an asset, costs 2, has a willpower, intellect, and wild icon. Spell traded. Norman Wither's deck only. Replacement. So this is an important thing. We're going to get Norman in a future expansion, and when we do, his signature card and the signature weakness will be different cards. So this has the replacement trait or rule. So if you don't know how that works, you can switch this and the replacement weakness with his original ones, or you can play with the original, or you can play with both. But you can't switch then, like have this signature card and his original weakness. You have to take them in pairs. But yeah, you can look it up on Arkham DB if you don't know the rules or something like that. So what does it do? Action. Reveal the top card of the encounter deck. Just flip it. Shows everyone. And then there's a fast action. Exhaust. Split the angle. And discard the top card of your deck. And you always know what you're going to discard, since his passive always shows a discard the top card of the encounter deck. Another spell, likewise render Fahrenheit, like for splitting the angle and walking through time in the flesh. So you can't spend an action to see the top card of the encounter deck. If it's something terrible, you can exhaust this to discard the top card of your deck and the top card of the encounter deck. Sounds good? I don't think so. I think this is a pretty weak one in terms of signature cards. I mean, it's just due to this action. Spend an action to look at the top of the encounter deck. That is so slow. I mean, if it had like another effect, like maybe, I don't know, something, just get a resource and look at the top, something. Because I'm finding myself having the time to play this and spend an action every turn to look at the top card of the encounter deck. And imagine if you're like playing 2 to 4 player, you still only get to look at what the lead investigator is going to draw. And that doesn't seem that good. And especially if it's not that horrible, like if it's a pack of rats, well then you just wait an action looking at the rats. So let's talk, so I don't think this action stuff is good. Let's talk about the secondary. So you can exhaust it to discard the top card of the encounter deck and the top of your deck, but we always know what we're going to discard, so you probably can play around that. But I mean, if you haven't triggered this effect, then you're just milling cards blindly, and there's no point in doing that because you don't know if you'll discard a pack of rats or an ancient evil. So I mean, you might well just discard rats and push ancient evil further top on the encounter deck. So doing this blind is probably not good either, because you don't have to reveal the card to do this. The only thing I can like think maybe this works good with are either scrying, yeah. So it's from the core set. It's a spell. You exhaust scrying and you look at the top 3 of the encounter deck and rearrange them in any order. That way you can put the worst card on top and then mill it with split the angle. But that's only assuming he plays with someone that can takes it, or if he can takes it himself, which we don't know yet. Another one is, what's her name? Alicia? I don't even know how to spell that. Yeah, Alicia Graham, yeah. So Alicia Graham, she came somewhere in Dunwich, unmentioned and unseen. You can exhaust Alicia to look at the top card of the encounter deck. And then you may add a Doom to her to place that card on the bottom of the deck. So if he can hopefully take Alicia, or if you're playing with someone that can have Alicia, that might be a good combo, because then you can look at it as a fast action, and you can discard it as a fast action. And that is actually pretty good, I think. Then you get some control of the encounter deck, and that can really save you, especially if you're about to draw something nasty like some strong enemy or stuff like that. I don't want to spoil too many of the encounter decks, because this is just supposed to be about Norman. Yeah, so split angle has a lot of if, but probably best with Alicia. And it'll be interesting to see what his real signature card is. So let's see, it's actually an 8 down here, and he has 7. I don't know what the other 6 cards are, probably 2 rule cards. Or maybe Jenny has? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. So this is Vengeful Hound. It's a weakness. Monster extra dimensional Tyndalus. That's a new type. Or a new trait. Norman's dex only replacement, so that it goes hand in hand with the split angle. Prey Norman. It doesn't have Hunter though, which is interesting. While Vengeful Hound is engaged with you, you cannot draw, or reveal cards via player cards effect. So this came up during the Jenny new weakness. Cards effect includes himself. So if you have drawn Vengeful Hound, this top effect stops working. Let's see. There we go. This top effect, play with the top card of your deck revealed, stops working. So then you have to flip the top card back when you draw him. So, since you will draw him, he'll be shown on the top. I just assume you... Yeah, it's a timing window there, because when he's on the top, you will draw him due to your forced effect, draw weaknesses. And then you don't get to see the top card of your deck anymore. But I wonder if, like, the window between you draw him in, because you draw him in your hand, and since it's an enemy, you place him down. But during that time, do you flip your new top card to see what you're going to get? I'm not sure about that, but it'll probably come a ruling about that. So, you cannot draw or reveal cards via player effect. So you cannot use Alicia, because then you look at the card. So, and you cannot draw cards. So there's a lot of cards draw in Seeker. Let's see, can we draw? Can we just see the cards that draw? Oh, there's like 2 maybe. Yeah, Cryptic Research, probably the best draw card. You draw 3 cards. Yeah, Laboratory Assistants doesn't work. No Stern on turn. Book of Lore stopped working. Prester's Sketch. And Strange Illusion Undefined. Oh, we didn't talk about the stat line. So he's 2 fight, 2 HP, and 3 agility. 2 damage for 1 damage and 1 horror. So in terms of stats, he's really weak. I mean, sure, you only had what did you have, 2 in fighting? So you're probably not going to be able to fight him. But I mean, Seeker has other tricks up their sleeve. They have cards like Mind Over Matter, which turns your intellect into combat. So then you'll be fighting with 5. I think you're fine then. Or you have Strange Illusion, the combat one. You have I have a plan. It's something like that. Yeah, I've got a plan, which can do 4 damage. Probably easy be able to do 2 damage. Because Norman will have clues. He has 5 intellect, so that'll probably be one of his biggest roles, just go collecting clues and encounter control. I think this enemy is really weak. I don't think it'll ever be much of a threat. It's kind of like William Jorik's enemy. Yeah. So that's the cards we got. The art is going to be different when we get him released for real. But he looks cool. We have no idea when he will come. If he will come in the next deluxe box, when will be probably in maybe May, June. I don't know. But yeah, it looks fun. I'm interested to see his backside, what he can take and so on. Yeah, and about 1 week until the next Mythos pack, and when that comes, I'll do another video about the player cards. If you have any other idea what you would like me to do, like maybe a rule video or something else, please leave them in the comments, and I'll probably do them. Yeah, that was. I want to say William all the time, but that's Norman. Old man Norman. Yeah, it seems fun. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and comment. Bye.